Welcome to this introduction video about the Database Update Framework. It's a framework that is code-based for making automated database updates. The framework is created by Nils Svedmyr from RDC Tools International. In this video we will introduce you to the framework and show you how it works. We will do that by following the following steps. First, we will take a look at the problem. So, why should you use the Database Update Framework? Then we'll take a look at the solution, set up the workspace, convert and copy data over to SQL, the next update to the database, and we'll take a look at a conclusion. Let's start by showing why you should use the Database Update Framework. Let's say a brand new version of your software is about to be released. During development of the new software, database changes have been made. New tables and columns were added and some new fields need to be initialized with default values, and yet other fields were changed in length or type. Instead of using the DataFlex embedded database, you plan to bring all your customers to use an SQL-based database. That means that all of your customers' databases need a lot of changes before the new software can run. DataFlex offers a tool, but for making changes at each customer site, it might be too time-consuming and error-prone. And then there's the option of a third-party solution. None of them can handle all sorts of database changes, especially not if you want full control over the process. So that's why you should use the Database Update Framework. Let's take a look at the advantages. So let's take a look at the advantages of using the Database Update Framework. You only need to make necessary changes once at the office to later run them on all customer sites. Powerful functions help you write compact code to make even big changes. Typically one line of code for each table, column or index that needs to be changed. You can test all changes at the office at your own pace to make sure it all works properly. The framework automatically securely logs everybody else out of the system while the database update is underway. Deploy your program at customer side, run it, and all database changes will be performed and your program will then run safely. Now let's take a look at how it works. For this demo we will use the order entry sample application and convert it to Microsoft SQL Server. We first make a copy of the order entry workspace and open it in the studio. The very first time the Database Update Framework is used is explained in the Help chapter First Time Usage. There are 3 simple steps needed to set up a workspace, and they are explained in the Help chapter Workspace Setup. Those 3 steps are: add the framework as a library, run the tool that creates a table and column to save the current database versions to, and run the SQL Manager tool to set up connection parameters to an SQL database. Let's see how it works. Start by selecting Maintain Libraries from the Studio's Tools menu and press the Add Library button. Navigate to the folder where you installed the Database Update Framework workspace and select the .sws file that corresponds to your DataFlex version. Press Yes to add the library using relative pathing and press OK. Select Create DB Version Table from the Studio's Tools menu and press the Create Table button. Select SQL Connection Manager from the Studio's Tools menu. As this is the first time the SQL Connection Manager is started for the current workspace, you will get some initial information to guide you on how to set up an SQL connection. Press OK. Then select the database type and driver and enter a connection identity that should be used to identify the SQL connection. Continue entering the rest of the connection data. Note that the type of information necessary to enter depends on the selection of the database type and driver. Always press the Check Login button to ensure that the entered information is correct. We will now add code to the order.src sample program to convert the database to SQL. Also note that there is a Help button if required. Then press OK, save your changes and exit the program. Open the order.src program by double-clicking the file in the Studio's Workspace Explorer and press F7 to switch to editor mode. To help us create a starting point for the code we want to add, we click the Database Update Framework from the Studio's class palette. Then we drag a CDB update handler object and drop it right after the C application object. As we in this demo are not going to use any Murtic ink drivers, we can simply remove the comments lines near the top of the code that was added. In fact, since we're going to use the DB version table we created earlier, to keep the current database version number, we can remove all lines down to the set data file field line. Let's start by adding code to convert the customer table to Microsoft SQL Server, including copying all data over to SQL. We do this in two simple steps. We will tell the compiler the name of the table, and we will convert and copy the table to SQL. Let's see how it works. We first tell the compiler the name of the table, as this is the first reference to the table in the program, by adding a declared data file customer line somewhere above the onUpdate event. By adding this line to the onUpdate event, we will tell the framework to convert the customer table to SQL and also to copy the data from the embedded table to SQL. Use the Studio's Properties panel to inspect and change how the conversion will be done for the ODB Update version 1 object. As the PB copy data is by default true, it means that data will be copied over to SQL. That is how simple and easy it is to convert a full table to SQL. Save your changes and press F5 to compile and run the program. The program will ask to start update now. Just click yes and the conversion starts. If all went well, you get a ready, the database was updated message. Click OK and your program will run as normal, but now with a customer table that is all in SQL. The DB version table was updated with the PN version number set in the ODB Update version 1 object, so the DB version table value now reads 1.0. By following the previous steps, we have created version 1.0. After a few weeks or months, there might be a new software update. To accomplish this, you have to follow 3 steps. Add a new DB update version, change the version number, and add the changes. Let's demonstrate this. Drag the class template from the class palette to the code. Place it after the latest version update. Change the version number. Add the code for making the database changes. In this case, we rename the customer name column to full name. In the help, you can find documentation of these methods. We add another column called printed flag and set the default value to 1. You can also find this in the documentation. Now run the program. A dialog pops up and shows that the database needs to be updated, and as you can see, everything works. Go back to the studio and open the Database Explorer to see that the version number has been updated to 1.1. Let's take a look at the SQL database. After refreshing the database, you can see the name column has been renamed and the printed flag column has been added, and its value has been set to 1 for all existing rows. In this video, you have seen how easy it is to use the database update framework. There are lots of advantages, like by using the database update framework, you only have to make necessary changes once and you can later run them on all customer sites. Powerful functions help you write compact code to make even big changes. The framework securely locks everybody out of the system while updating. Deploy your program at a customer site, run it, and all database changes will be performed and your program will then run safely. There are a total of about 70 different functions to make any change possible to a database, so this was just a simple demo of one of them. How other functions work we have saved for another video. If you want more information about using the database update framework, it's written down in the help file. And if you want to stay up to date about DataFlex and its corresponding tools, subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time!